Hi everybody and welcome along to season 2 of the Boots to Billing podcast. My name is McFadden. I'm joined by my co-host Chris Fahey as always. Today we have an unbelievable guest on, somebody who has played over 390 senior appearances, not only in Scotland but also down south as well. So really intrigued to hear his story. Interesting guy as well. So Ryan Stevenson, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us on.
No, we're delighted Steve on again. I know we get introduced to a mutual pal. I think it'd be daft not to give him a wee shout out. We're wearing these clays today. So we've now got a brand partner for clothing, mate. We've made it.
Well, we look nice on the gear. No idea.
So Club or Daft, if you don't know about Stephen Jasinski, give him a wee follow on Instagram. His clothes they're unique, but they're absolutely booming. He's got loads of football players wearing these clothes now and that as well. But brilliant guy, brilliant story, and like I said, his clothes are going to be everywhere now, so give him a wee look and a wee follow, and we'll get him on the show and we'll get him on for a chat, won't we?
They might look a bit better than other people than they do on us, but
that's just me and you. Steve, again mate, I know I managed to speak to you on the phone the other day and I really appreciate your time coming on. Any player that comes on to give advice back to the generation coming through, I think it's a brilliant thing, so I appreciate it. But like every guest, we start right back at the start, mate, and I've obviously done a wee bit of homework since we're having a chat, but we're kind of speaking offline as well. Really intrigued to know how a boy from Ayrshire gets picked up with Chelsea at 13. I mean, how did football start for you? Was it boys club football, and how did it work?
So first sort of memory of football was playing in my front garden. My dad had got me Maradona's Puma King boots.
Big tongue?
The big tongue ones. Had a bin in the front garden, and I think my dad was just like, see if you can pass it in the bin. And I must have started a couple of yards away. And then I can just remember getting further and further back. My dad's obviously probably thought, he's quite good here. And then went to sort of local teams down in Ayrshire and done really, really well. Myself and Alan Hutton at the time.
Oh, brilliant.
Ended up playing for the same sort of boys club. And he went to Rangers. I went on to Hearts, and just by chance, mate, we were playing Celtic in the Scottish Cup semi-finals, I think, under 12s, under 13s.
Sure.
I had been going down to Manchester United at the time, during sort of holidays and things like that. John Rankin was going down. Obviously Darren Fletcher was down there as well, so they were quite keen on taking me. And my dad was standing next to a guy when I was playing Celtic, and I was playing centre half at the time because we had injuries.
Is that where you started? Oh no, you didn't.
Well, I did actually. I started centre midfield, and then when I went to Hearts, they moved me back into there. And so I would go in between centre midfield and centre half, but I was playing centre half that day. The head Chelsea scout was up looking at the boy who was playing up front for Celtic, and just by chance, and it's amazing how it all sort of happens.
Look into it, man.
Is he's standing there and he's talking to the guy that he was standing with, and he said, "Oh, the big boy who's playing for Hearts is really good," and it was next to my dad. And my dad just said, "Oh, that's my boy." Obviously, at that stage, you had no mobile phones or anything like that. So this was on the Saturday. Chelsea phoned on the Sunday. I think they'd obviously done a bit of homework and had seen that I was going down to Man United. And they flew up the following week, took my mum and dad out for dinner to Largs, flew me down the following week. And it's like anything, mate. Back in the day, it's the bright lights. You go down to Stamford Bridge, they take you around Stamford Bridge, you're in the middle of London. They took me to show me where my digs would be. My digs would be with the kit man, and the first team kit man at the time.
You're only 13 at this time?
13.
That's mad, isn't it?
So I was just getting into second year. And for that full year, they basically flew me down. It started off on a Friday. I would fly down on the Friday and come back up on the Monday morning. And they'd arrange with the school that I could get the Monday morning off school. And I would fly into Prestwick, go straight to my school in here and catch the rest of the day. And as it sort of went, it then got to, can we fly him down the Thursday? So for about 6-7 months, it was literally Thursday to Monday, and I was missing the Monday at school. And it just got to the stage where they said, listen, it's not good for that. I was turning up to school in a Chelsea tracksuit and things like that. So it's like, it's not good for the school. It's not good. It's good that he's doing really, really well. Might just look at moving his schooling down to London. And again, in the days, okay, that's what we'll do. We'll move him down there. And as soon as you move down there, it was just like schooling's out the window. You're training. And I was down there full time at 14.
Oh, were you?
So I was in digs at 14. That was me. And obviously for the full year previous to that, I was flying up and down on my own. So I would fly into. Sometimes I would fly into Stansted. I would need to get the train into Liverpool Street, cross the full of London on my own at 14.
See, just things like that. Just the world's changed, isn't it? Like, see, sending a 13-year-old down a flight herself down to London.
Obviously, when you dive deeper into it, and I think about my mum and dad, probably feeling so uncomfortable doing that, but it's such a big opportunity.
It's a good opportunity.
So how do you say no? And I know what I'm like, and I was like
You wouldn't have
at
to
that
go.
age. If they'd said to me, "You're not going," I mean, I'd have went absolutely berserk. So the job for them must have been ridiculous. The worry for them, because obviously I've got my oldest boy's 13 now.
Similar age then.
So it's a similar age. He plays for the United, so he's in the United academy, and I couldn't for the life of me imagine him going anywhere. So it has changed days, obviously, to what it is now. I think they're better equipped now to deal with all that sort of stuff. But that was my journey.
See, that age, did you know you were good? Like, if you're getting picked up with these teams when you were in, like the teams you were in, were you quite confident in like your own ability and that? Did you know?
I was here, mate. Up in Scotland, I was. I think when I went down to England, probably not with my mum and dad there was the biggest thing, because again, you're down there on your own,
Like
and I found it really difficult, the fact that we would go to games on a Saturday. So I would play on a Saturday with like the under 15s, say, and then on the Sunday I'd been doing that well. I would play with the youth team on the Sunday, so they're under 19s, and even just simple things like you would be turning up to the game, the kit man would be taking me,
Because you were
and
living
then all the other kids that were turning up their family, and my mum and dad could only get down every so often. So it's that side of things. I wasn't probably as confident as I would be up in my own surroundings, if that makes sense. But again, all you wanted to do at that stage was be a professional footballer. I'm playing for Chelsea. It didn't really get much better. And obviously I shared, the people know, I shared my digs with John Terry. There was players coming in and out all the time. So I was living the dream. But when you strip it all back now as a dad, and I think as time's gone on and you become more aware about things, you look at it and you think, I'm not really sure about that.
When I was about 16, I spent a bit of time down at Watford and Stoke, and I was playing for Celtic up here at the time as well. And the one thing I noticed the difference was the physicality.
They're all big.
They were all big and strong, 6 foot odd. And I was just like a wee Scottish guy down there, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a man's world. And
I think as soon as you go down there, you realise just how big it is. It was the same when I signed for Ipswich. My first game for Ipswich, and my second game we played Leicester, the year they get promoted. And I can handle myself up in Scotland. I'm a big guy, and I remember going out for the warm up, coming in, and we both went out into the tunnel. And Jason Scotland, who I'd played with at St Johnstone, I was playing up front with him. And I was just playing off Jason, and Jason said, "Look, just stay away from the boy Wes Morgan." Now, at that time, I was like, whatever. But I'll fancy my chances. And we walked out into the tunnel, and Wes Morgan walked out, and I thought, I cannot believe the size of this guy. And usually what you find is they're big, but they're maybe not that fast, or they're not technically good. He was big, he was fast, he was good on the ball. And it was the same, West Ham were in the division at the time, so there was James Collins, there was all these guys, and you just realise the levels, and even at the youth team level. I come through and Peter Crouch was playing, and obviously Crouch is like 6'7" and things like that, but just everybody, as you're saying, everybody seemed bigger, everybody seemed stronger, everybody seemed quicker. And again, I was sort of trying to deal with that on my own in digs. You're going home and you're thinking, I'm not really sure how I done, or just how I go about getting better and things like that. Jim Duffy was my manager, so I had a Scottish manager, and then Steve Clark was my manager after that. But I think the biggest thing looking back on it now, that what was that, 4 odd year down there, that was on my own basically. So you're missing a massive part of your childhood as well.
So you're away from everybody. Away from everything,
Did Jim Duffy and Steve Clark sort of look after you a bit because you were Scottish, or no really?
Kind of, to an extent. It's a thankless job for them as well. I understand it now from the football aspect. They've got their own job to look after. They've got their own families. They had kids. They were trying to find their way coaching wise as well, and they've got, you're at Chelsea, they've got, I don't even know, 40, 50 boys to look after. And as much as, listen, Jim Duffy was brilliant for me, and so was Steve, but even at 14, 15, if I'd went and asked them for anything, I would imagine they'd have done anything for me. But a 15-year-old, are you going to go and ask
exactly
a grown adult? And as I said, the only time I spoke to mum and dad really, until I got the first mobile phone, was every Sunday. Yeah, and it was just, you would phone up and it would be like, how's things? Yeah, good. Training's been good. And again, you're a 15-year-old.
Why tell him then?
You're on the phone to your mum and dad and you're going, yeah, everything's great, blah, 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 blah. And then you put the phone down, and over the weekend, everybody that stayed in digs with me would go home. So I had the full digs to myself, the full weekend. And the kit man at times would be away, obviously, with the first team. So I just had this massive house
sitting yourself
to myself. And you couldn't do anything. I was on £60 a week. So it's not as if you could go out. And I never really had a massive circle of friends, obviously, down there. The one boy that really looked after me, who I still speak to, all his mates, we still keep in contact, was Carlton Cole.
Right.
Up here for a bit, didn't he?
He was just wasn't a great time for him up here at
Celtic. It was probably end his career, wasn't it? About
West Ham and all the rest of it.
I still speak to all that group. And he, to be fair to him, he tried his hardest to sort of help me. And if they were going out or they were going for dinner or something like that, he would come and get me and take me out. And his mum, gran and all that looked after me as well. But again, you're still... I'm just a young Scottish guy down there at 14, 15, 16 on my own. So it's obviously changed days. Looking back on it, would you change it? Probably. But if you put that path out in front of me and said, this is the opportunity you've got, I wouldn't change it, if that makes sense.
Take it again.
You would take it again.
You mentioned John Terry there. He's probably the biggest name at that time, but he's a couple of years younger than you, is he?
No, he's older than me.
Is he older, is he? Right?
Yeah, he's older than me. So I'm 41, he's 45.
So he was in the first team then when you were there, or was he just breaking in?
He was just breaking in. So I was... he was in digs the night he made his debut against Aston Villa. I was ball boy at the time, and I remember coming back, and again, just a surreal moment. As much as I was ball boy on the side of the pitch, and then I'm watching the guy that I shared digs with playing for the first team. And we all came back after it, and we were all sitting in the living room, and he was just talking about how it was being on the actual pitch. And
was he 17 or 18?
He would have been 17 at the time, I'm sure. So I would have been 13.
Do you have the same mentality then? Just having you hear him talking now, he was channel vision, like
the best, mate.
I can imagine.
The best.
What's so good? Everybody raves. Obviously, we've seen him on the telly, but what was so good about John Terry that made him
everything in
his
it?
all-round game?
People used to argue with me that he wasn't fast. He didn't need to be fast, but he was deceptively. He wasn't slow. Put it that way. But he was the first centre half that I'd ever seen that the opposition would put the ball forward or clear the ball, and he would head it down in the path of the right and the left back to start an attack.
So he wasn't just, he done it anywhere.
He wasn't just he wasn't just thinking, I'm going to head it. What you're told to do is just clear your lines, get it as far forward. He was doing it as if like a striker was putting it in the bottom corner. But Bobby Arrow would play left back, Petrescu right back, and he would genuinely just start attacks. Just by it coming down, he would just go bang, there you go. Left and right foot, like very rarely.
Scored a lot of goals for centre half as well, didn't he?
So aggressive. Very rarely gave the ball away. And the guy who was kit man, I was in the digs, he put a bet on. Now I think John would have been 15 or 16 at the time. I don't know how much it was, thinking back on it, can't remember, but he'd put a bet on that John would be an England captain.
Did he? Aye.
And obviously went on and done that.
See that from an early age, he was going to be.
He was just magnificent, mate.
You must have seen some talent in there, but because that was like the era of Zola and all that there, wasn't it? And all these
I
guys.
was Zola's boot boy. So I had Zola, I had John Terry, Jody Morris, Frank Lampard, and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink.
You'd got a few quid there at Christmas.
Do you know the only one I never got a few quid off of was Zola? 50 quid off him. But do you know what? Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink. Amazing.
You see him on the dancing there?
Amazing, mate. so good, mate. So, and again, as a foreign player, just loved looking after young boys. You would come in, and to be fair, I always took pride in trying to make sure that their boots were ready. I would never make a mistake on packing the boots, but obviously, at that stage, the sponsorship, these guys are getting like 10, 15 pairs of boots every other week. So you're having to make sure that you've got everything packed properly, shin guards, all that sort of stuff. And I was lucky enough that because Ozzy the kit man would be going to a lot of the games, I would go with him. So I'd be packing hampers, so I
Aye,
kind of had
so
an
you-
understanding it. And they would always have a couple of younger boys that would go along. So you were involved with the first team, so you could see what they were doing before games and all that sort of stuff. So he was just brilliant for me. And again, it came to Christmas time, and you would either sing or dance. And 500 quid here, John. To be fair to John Terry, Jody Morris, and Frank Lampard looked after me like you wouldn't believe. Jody gave me money during the week because obviously I was on 60 quid a week. And if I'd played in the reserves and was doing well, he'd maybe come in and give you 100 quid and go, that's for doing well this week. You done well when you came on. Because again, I would only be 15 at the time I'm playing. I'd be sub for the reserves coming on. I might only play 10 minutes. And then these guys are coming in and going, there's 100 quid, well done. Just looking after the young.
They need to do that, but
they don't,
brilliant,
mate, they don't. And that's the part that I think's lost nowadays. They don't have that.
Yeah.
So nowadays it's like, especially in the bigger academies, the younger boys are miles away from the first team building.
Yep.
So then they're not interacting. And even the likes of what you are saying about after football.
Yeah.
John Terry bought I'm sure it was a Merc convertible he bought. I'm pretty sure he'd only played maybe a handful of games, and he bought a Merc convertible. Now he's still in digs, and he had a 1.1 Saxo at the time, and he went into training, and Dennis Wise hooked him and was like, do not come back in with that. You've played like 10 games or whatever it was.
I actually hooked him.
Had him up, and then he went straight back and sold it and went back in with Saxo the next day.
I love that.
And I think nowadays that part's lost, where
Speak about it in the podcast all the time. It's lost.
you don't have sort of father figures in that in that footballing environment. And even just to say to you, listen, so when I went to St Johnstone, the one boy that sort of helped me was a boy, Paul Bernard. You remember him? He signed for Aberdeen.
Scotland International.
And he came in. Now Paul held himself well. You could tell he'd done really well in football, out of football. So I was just drawn to that straight away, and I was like, what do you do? How do you, how's this happened? And he took so much time with me. I think it was his father-in-law had a big property company. He invested money in this and that. And he just sort of helped you. His advice to me was, if you make any decent money out of football, pay your mortgage off. So that's what all I tried to do when I was making good money, was pay my mortgage off. And I think that's lost now. Where it is, it's like these young boys can go and get Mercs on lease. And they drive into their building, they're never really interacting with the first team. So they could be making loads of mistakes and not even realise what they're doing. And then obviously if it does go south and it doesn't happen, which for a lot of the percentage of players it is, there's only, what is it, it'll be 0.0% make it to an elite level. You're then having to try and figure it out on your own.
You've then got that lifestyle you're paying, but you've got a big mortgage, you get the
Just
big
the
car
ego thing
rentals.
as well. Even for the young kids, like if you've got a Merc as your first ever car, I mean,
there's no ground in there,
and then if the contract's not right at the end of the season, you have to give that Merc back, and then you have to go and get a wee Fiesta. Ego takes a big hit, and it's horrible. And I don't think at that age you understand that it doesn't really matter.
AG Payroll are delighted to be sponsoring Boots the Billing. Myself and Faddy are having a great time interviewing all these footballers and ex-footballers. But just to tell you a bit about what AG Payroll do, we provide payroll services for contractors in the UK, which is CIS, Umbrella and Bureau services, but we also can provide payroll services in over 160 countries worldwide. So if you need any help, give me a shout and I'll let you get on with the show.
But at that age, at 17, 18, that's all that really matters.
Your mates have got the Merc, you want the Merc. It's like you've got to fit in, don't you?
I bought an Audi TT off Alan Russell. Do you know Alan Russell? The superior striker. So he was playing at St Mirren at the time, and he had this belt in TT, and we were obviously all from the same area, going out and everything, and he was selling it. I should never have bought it. But I think it was 6 months old or something. He'd had it since brand new, and I bought it. I was 18. And I was cutting about in a 45 grand car.
TT.
And I was the crazy thing was, as I was driving it from Ayr to Perth every other day. So it's not a car to be driving 100 odd miles a day in, but I just done it because I was a young footballer.
Want to look the
sniffing
part.
around about a first team. I wanted to look cool, all that sort of stuff. and I probably never had the right guidance.
How
to
did
it.
you point at him when you say what you look cool?
I know, I was bending a finger in the year.
I seen McCoy's talking about it, and another thing the other day he was talking about, it was three things he was talking about. The first one was no playing with older people in the street.
Yeah.
As much doesn't happen now, so you don't learn a bit of respect for older footballers and to get yourself better. He was talking about that, no money, like advice at all. Boys are giving it, but then they're either through a full-time football and they've not been getting advice and they've wasted loads of money.
Yeah.
He was talking about that, and he was also talking about something we talk about all the time, which is loanees, young boys going out and loan with men.
Yeah.
And it's like, he says, they three things are damaging our game and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
And that's, he was so passionate
the
about
biggest thing is kids that are doing well should go out and loan.
Aye.
100%, because it's like, so Chelsea, when I was transitioning from Hearts to Chelsea, they put me to Hurlford juniors.
Yeah.
So
Aye.
I would fly down on the Thursday or the Friday,
Chelsea put you there? Aye.
but see, on the Tuesday I would go to Hurlford and train with Hurlford,
Aye.
Men.
and it was just to be in a man's environment. Now I was 13, 14.
Aye.
It's crazy this is, it's just to be in like a man's changing room where guys are coming in and they've maybe not had a good result of the weekend, and they're having a go at each other at training and things like that, and I'm sitting there thinking,
As a kid.
what's going on here?
Aye.
But it's all that sort of stuff to try and get you ready, because inevitably they knew I was going to leave Ayr and go down to London and have sink or swim.
Aye.
So they're trying to give you as many tools as they possibly can, as quickly as they can, to make you best.
Are you glad they done that for you now? You look back, you think
I
yourself.
do, mate. Listen, there's loads of stuff I would change. But as I said at the start, if you gave me the chance to do it again, I wouldn't change a thing.
But see, the thing is, like, you can't regret anything, because what an experience you've had.
Well, that's what I mean.
You've played with the legends of the game, and you've been around these people who will be known for all time in football. So what a privilege and what an experience.
And I think that sometimes you get lost. See, when I retired, a couple of years went past, and I look back on it and I think, I'd have changed this. I wouldn't have went to Chelsea. I would have stayed at Hearts, because Hearts wanted to keep me. They'd offered me like a 4 or a 5 year deal.
Aye.
I was going to do, I think, the YTS for like 6 months, then I was turning professional straight away. You look at it now, and I would have probably been best fitted to just stay at Hearts. I could have, hopefully, you never know, get in their first team quicker.
Family close by you.
Family's there. I would still have had, so the biggest thing for me was I left at 13, 14, and I came back at like 18, nearly 19. But what I said, I had no childhood.
Aye.
So all my mates were going out and just hanging about with each other and forming friendships. I came back up and never really had. I had my core mates,
Aye.
but they were all different as well. And they had other mates, and it was like, how do you then fit back into that? And
Yep.
but at the same time, I've
Having's good
had the
picture.
best
Still
life.
moment,
I've
man.
had the best life, I've been so lucky. At the end of the day, I loved playing football every single day. I loved training. I was lucky that I loved training. I loved being in the changing room. I miss it so much. I still miss it. And I think that's where clubs have to try and combat that sort of area where if you are making money, they don't. I think they've got a duty of care, because you don't know what their family life is like, generational. So they might come from a really rough area, and the dad or the mum or the grandpa and the gran don't really know how to value
Manage
money
money.
or make
Aye.
money. And
So we talk about this through the business and through pitch to placements as well. I think there seems to be a massive gap between the Scottish clubs and what they do to look after the players and the English clubs.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's different down there. There's a lot more money, but I think even the clubs do feel as if they've got that duty of care, whereas in Scotland, as far as I know, it's not as good as what it should be.
I think we're light years behind on that front. And I think, again, it's ego. Is a lot of the clubs maybe just think, listen, all that matters for a lot of the clubs, which I understand is, and the resources aren't as big, is what happens on a Saturday. And that club, if it's in the Premiership, it has to stay in the Premiership. We don't have time to look after kids and what happens after football if they don't make it. But the brass taxi is you're a commodity.
See,
That is.
and see, at the end of the day, like these clubs, like you look at Celtic just now, right? They're a shambles, right? The transfer dealings and the way the board is and everything else. But clubs like that should be structured that they should be like a business.
Aye.
They should have a department that just deals with their young players, and it deals with that duty of care and their education and financial advice and all that sort of side of it. It's a multi-million-pound business. It's not as if it's just back of a flag pack of stuff.
I think the biggest thing, and I was terrible for it as well, was I don't think a lot of clubs do it, is they should employ ex-players.
Aye. Give him
So
advice.
if you've got an ex-player standing there, now for me, if you look at you should have Kyle on here. Now I don't know Kyle. Everything that I hear about Kyle is that he's a really good guy.
Okay.
Been through a lot in his life. If I was Rangers and I'm looking at that, I would employ Kyle in some sort of role.
Yep.
And he might not want to do that, but going in and actually showing the pitfalls of, he's a tremendous footballer.
Yeah.
As you were saying, really, really good guy, but he's squandered a lot of money through an addiction. He's best footed to tell these boys coming through, listen lads, I've made it and I've lost it. Now, he's had the best memories, he's won titles, he's had all that.
Yeah.
But after it finishes, what do you do? How do you combat that?
Totally agree with you.
And I think that if they had players there, I always find that players, I know as a young kid coming through, if an ex-player was standing in front of me, I would listen to him.
Aye.
And as I said, I was terrible. They would bring people in who could be a business money manager, really wealthy, has, I can invest all your money, can do da for you. I would not care.
Because
he's not a footballer.
I agree with you.
And I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in somebody who's I want to be, if that makes sense. And I think that's such a massive gap. And for whatever reason, they just don't do it. I don't understand why.
No.
I think common sense is missing now, so that seems like common sense. That seems such an obvious thing that clubs should do, but why they don't do that, I don't know.
I think a lot of the board members, and obviously you talk about Celtic there, but just even briefly on the fact that how much a shambles they are, I don't think they have enough football-minded people in that understand that the dream for us, these guys are on boards and they like football and they want to be involved in football, but it's maybe not been their dream, or they've maybe not had the opportunity to be a footballer. All we ever cared about was being footballers. So it was like, that was a dream, that was everything. To have somebody standing there saying and telling you and trying to help you at that age, 18, 19-year-old, especially if it's players breaking through, it's a different story, because you have to say, listen, if you're breaking through, then speak to such and such about investing money, here's a guy, or even speaking to their parents and saying, listen, this is what I think, just look after his money, or do this. And then on the other side of it is, if there's boys that aren't going to make it, there's a massive duty there to help them. Because I could never imagine I was so lucky, so I never went through my full career getting to the end of a contract and sitting waiting.
You always had your next one.
I always knew.
Here's a question for you, right? So you're in the PFA in England and you've been in the PFA in Scotland.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two PFAs?
So the PFA in England still send me, I was saying that to Faddy. I got a statement through the other day there about my pension.
Right.
The pension, I didn't even know about. Knew there was a pension there. I think at the time it was like 16 grand or something that goes automatically. As soon as you become a player down there, it goes straight in, it's set up. They set it up for you. So you don't even need to set it up. And then obviously you can add to it. Now I know things have changed because boys were piling so much money into it, and the PFA contributed to it. I think at some stage you could have pulled it out at 34, 35.
I know some boys have done that.
And I think a lot of boys, but I know they changed it then, because a lot of boys, what they were doing was they were just living off their bonuses, which is quite right, and they were firing all their wages into this pension. The PFA were matching however much they were putting in. It was costing the PFA a fortune, and people were retiring at 34, 35 and drawing out this lump sum of money, which is amazing.
Tax free.
Listen, that's smart. That's the best way to do it. I think up here, I don't even think we get pensions up here. There's nothing.
That's not much.
It's a bit of a loaded question, because I know there's a huge gulf between the two PFAs, and I know it goes down to budgets.
I get it's money as well,
but I think they could do a lot more.
I think, listen, it's difficult for me because when I went through all the stuff at Hearts with them not paying us, the PFA helped me in the fact of Fraser Wishart was there, Stuart Lovell was there. My agent, who became my agent, was Liam O'Donnell, who he's now got Andy Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold. The advice that he gave me through the PFA was absolutely amazing. But you're 100% right as well. Is that aside, the amount of boys that will be getting released every single year will outweigh the amount of boys that are getting kept on. And what happens to these kids? Now, I had it. There's so many of these kids that'll have it at 17, 18. I had it at 33, 34 when I retired. It was the exact same thing. And I never expected to hit a wobbler with it or how it would affect me. And I was 34. So I've had much more life experience. And it knocked me for 6. You imagine being 17, 18 and you're out all the time, because we've all been there, you're out all the time, 100%. You're living life, it's the best, you're playing for Rangers or Celtic or Hearts, everything's amazing. You get pulled in one day and they say, you're away. I'm not going to renew your contract.
This week's episode is sponsored by Eastwood 12 Golf Club. Now, Eastwood 12 has been going for about a year now. It opened up last summer. It's a phenomenal golf course. You know, it's got some nice quirky holes in it. It's got lovely scenery. It's well kept. I mean, there's robots kind of out cutting the grass and stuff, which is amazing. It's then even been boosted even further by their cafe and their bar that they have there. It's just a great place to play golf. So if you are looking for a new club this year, get yourself along, get around in. But I know they've froze the 2025 membership fees for the next little while before they change it to the 2026 membership fees. So I would definitely recommend getting along, having a round, and yeah, it won't disappoint you. Guys, thank you for your support of the show. And yeah, let's get back to the episode. What happened to us, when I went to Clyde, Bomber was there and they took quite a lot of boys for Rangers because of that link there. And these boys were coming, like Cal Reedford and stuff like that. I spoke to you about them before, but these boys are making decent money and then end up at Clyde.
Yeah.
£100 a week. Yeah. And they're like, I mean, 5, 6 of them just released overnight.
See, I was, again, just the luck of being at St Johnstone. Owen Coyle really looked after me when he was a manager, came in, and I was in and out the team, playing well. But I was playing right wing back at the time. And they were desperate to try and win the league, so he'd brought in another right back from Falkirk who had played with at Falkirk. Yeah. And I was at the team for 2 or 3 weeks, and the United manager, who I knew, Robert Connor, phoned up and asked if I could go on loan. And Coyle, to be fair to him, was like, I don't want you to go. I wanted to go.
Aye.
And again, it was my local team.
Did you support there? Did I read that?
I did. So when I grew up, obviously my first ever game was Ayr v Range. In fact, that's a lie. My first ever game was Ayr v Clydebank, and I got to see Davy Cooper.
Oh, bro. I heard that wee rumour you were a closet Rangers fan.
No, certainly not.
That was boy John. Boy John is a dog trainer. Do you know him?
John.
He was a closet Rangers fan.
So John's boy plays for the United as well.
That's sweet.
And obviously my boy's in the academy, so I see him. I see him pretty much every week, and he always goes back to it.
He's saying that to him.
I'm a mad Rangers fan. But no,
what about that guy's business? But he's flying, isn't he?
Amazing.
Business that is.
Amazing.
Wow. He goes around the world. He's telling me he's training like Scott McTominay's dog, Billy Gilmore.
He goes out and does Billy's.
Stevie Gerrard flies him over to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Amazing, mate.
Don't teach you that.
Amazing guy as well. So, and I mean, that's all that sort of football world is just crazy, and the people you meet and things you can obviously get off the back of football. And but no, he's a good guy, but you can categorically say I'm not a Rangers fan. No.
So how did you find, guys? Obviously, McGowan to Chelsea, moved to St Johnstone, you went out and loaned to Ayr for a little bit. I think, did you go back to St Johnstone? You did that after the loan, didn't you?
No.
Did you not?
So Ayr bought me. I went, as I said, Coyle didn't really want to let me go. Yeah. Again, I'm quite stubborn, and I was like, look, I want to go, please can you let me go? It's 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I just want to go and play for 4 weeks, centre midfield, that's where I really want to play. And again, I had missed so much, mate, of my family being at any of my games and things like that.
Back, yeah.
Even playing for St Johnstone, as much as I came back from Chelsea, I moved up to Perth. So I was still an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
There's Pizzo in it up there.
Pizzo was there.
Good lad, isn't he?
So Pizzo was there, Paul Hartley was there. And it was great. But this opportunity to go and play for Ayr, my full family supported Ayr. I'm from, obviously, Drungan, which is like a wee village just outside there. Excuse me. And played my first game. And again, probably a bit of luck was I scored a tap-in for 5 yards. So scored on my debut. I'm a local lad. My full family's in it. I'd got a box at the hospitality. And my full family's first time, like my grandpa's there. All my pals are there. My mum, it was just perfect, just the way it all happened.
It's a full circle moment sort of, isn't it? Like you're going away and coming back and it's young, it's class.
So as soon as that happened, I played well in the next couple of games. They were desperate to keep me. The chairman is, at the time, was a guy from America, Lachlan Cameron. His dad owned the club, amazing guy, and he put an offer on his own money to buy me, and St Johnstone accepted it.
What age were you at that stage?
So I would have been 22, 23 maybe.
So I
at
might
that
playing
stage.
against you. You still had the you did tattoos and all that at that age, didn't you?
So again,
Did you get your first tattoo at 14? Is that true?
Aye.
So the big stigma, obviously, with me is that I copied David Beckham, and I'd got, but I never, because no, you know that.
copied
there you
you.
go. So there you go. It was like you look back at pictures of me when I was at Chelsea, just leaving Chelsea, and I'd basically had a half sleeve and things like that. So it was just something. My grandpa was in the RAF. He went out to Japan or China, whatever it was, came back with loads of tattoos, and I was just infatuated with him. Dad had a couple, and then 14 had went plunked school one day.
In the air, you get your tattoos at 14, quality.
I got a little dragon up on the side of
Did
my.
you?
That was terrible.
I think that made you a target when you played for United because you'd done the tattoos. Because I always remember playing against you and you stood out because you always rolled the sleeves
As a
up like
walloper.
that.
I think so. Listen, it's just that's just my personality. I think that's just. I always I've always loved tattoos. I think when you don't do things that people sort of think you should do. Obviously, Billy Stark was my manager at St Johnstone, and he hated it.
Did he?
So he always used to try, and I had the dragon on my arm, and he always used to be like, I want you to wear long sleeves.
Cover it.
I had streaks in my hair, and I went and got my streaks done on the Thursday night, went in on the Friday, was meant to play on the Saturday, and he was like, if you come back in with that on the Saturday, you won't play. So I had to go back home and dye my hair back
It's wild now.
That's mad. isn't
brown.
it?
But again, his upbringing was Celtic,
Old school.
Tommy Burns.
Frank Corner.
They-
These
they-
types of guys.
you know what I mean?
Alex Ferguson was the same, wasn't he? When you hear all the
Absolutely.
Beckham stories and all that, like,
absolutely.
that shaved
And I
up.
understand it to an extent, and I like parts of it. The fact that there is discipline and there is, I like all that, but I just want to be me at the same time as well. So I think everybody is different, but I do think there has to be boundaries as well. And I think that's a bit lost now as well. The boundary sort of thing, where there is no YTS, there is no jobs
Aye.
that you do where you're
structure.
cleaning the stadiums, things like that. Like that. You just have to do it after every game.
Aye.
And that's all gone now. And I think young kids miss out on that.
Aye.
But again, going back onto the A United thing, it was amazing for me because they managed to pay me enough money to sort of be full time, even though the club are part time. But I very quickly realised I loved the club and I loved playing for the club, but it wasn't where I wanted to be because most of these boys were coming to training on a Monday and a Wednesday. We trained,
After work and stuff.
and they were coming in with rigger boots on,
Aye.
and they were coming in with their suits on if they'd been like at jobs,
Aye.
their jobs and things like that. And I remember going in, and I'd maybe been at the gym during the day. Now I was still only young.
Yep.
I was earning good enough money that I could still do that. But I realised that I literally had like, I think I must have signed a 3-year deal. I had a 3-year window.
Yep.
Yep.
But in my head, I couldn't let it get to that last year, or I was dead. That was me. I was going to be a part-time player.
Stuck in part-time.
So I've got 2 years. The way I structured it in my head was I've got 2 years to train as hard as I possibly can, do as well as I can to get a move. If I don't get a move on that third year, I'm going to have to get a job. So that's what I did. I mean, I remember it was everything for me. So we would play on a Saturday. If I didn't play well, you would literally leave Somerset and go up to the sort of big roundabout at Ayr to head back towards Glasgow, and there's a big Bannatyne's gym. I would go straight to the gym
Aye.
and run in the gym. Now you wouldn't shouldn't do that straight after the game, but it was just my mental state
Be
was
that punishment for yourself. Like, I need to go and
I need
to
to
be
try and
better.
go again. I need to try and go again. And to be fair, when I was at Ayr, the first stint I'd done really well, and then obviously again probably a bit of luck. The fact that Jim Jeffries had tried to sign me at Kilmarnock, it sort of fell through because of the Ayr Kilmarnock thing. And then he got the Hearts job. I was meant to be going back to St Johnstone, which
Aye.
had sort of been agreed. Derek McInnes was trying to take me back.
Yep.
And then in the last day of the window, it all just exploded and Hearts came from nowhere. And then
Your stats were impressive here. I mean, Wikipedia's not always right, but 99 appearances, 28 goals. Obviously, they've been playing centre mid at that
centre
point as
mid,
well.
yeah.
So
yeah, no, I'd done well. I played well pretty much consistently for long periods at Ayr. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it.
Yeah, good club here, aren't they? They've got good fan base and that as well. Aye.
Amazing. I just loved everything about it. I loved the people. I loved the dressing room.
Good stadium as well, isn't it?
Aye, it is.
Brilliant. Played in some really good. I played in a couple of derbies against Kilmarnock.
What's the dancing down there? Scotty was telling us, Club de Mar.
Club de
Club de Mar, horrendous.
Yeah.
Like a statue inside them. Me and Big Brothers were in there every Saturday night. So
Give you a wee bit.
that was us. That in the corner,
VIP
basically.
corner, aye.
So I mean, looking back on it, it was brilliant. I was at every single weekend, and I was living my life. You know, again, probably that part that I had missed when I was away at Chelsea. I was doing at that time at Ayr, but the football was a front runner. It was the most important thing for me.
Do you think you got out of your system when you went to sign for Hearts? Do you think you then had that? Because if you'd have been missing it, maybe that cut of year he might have gave you that. You know, I've done that now. Back to
Kind of, yeah.
graft.
I knew that it was going to go one way or the other, and I knew obviously once I had decided that obviously I was going to go to Hearts. As soon as Hearts came in for me,
Means mind made up.
Yeah, you can't turn that down. And I had obviously been at the club as a young kid. I loved everything about the club when I was there as a young kid. It was just the fact that it was Chelsea. It's how can you turn Chelsea down? But I remember standing on the pitch. I've got a picture on my social media with my grandpa. My grandpa was like my hero. And we stood on the pitch after one of the games we'd played at Tynecastle, and he turned around to me and he just said, "Could you imagine you played one game here as a professional? You would have made it."
Aye.
And it always just stuck with me. And then obviously as soon as the phone call came in that, listen, they want to take you, I had Derek McInnes was screaming down the phone, "You better be coming to Perth. I'm up in Perth. Like, I've waited all night for you. You better be coming up here." And I'm like,
It's funny how it works. There's Derek McInnes also the Hearts manager now.
I know, but it's
He's trying to
took
get
it
you
hump with
away.
me for a while, so he did. And great guy, great man. I mean, I've been singing the praises for him to be a Hearts manager.
Kyle was raving about him on here, wasn't he?
Loves it at bottom of my street.
Amazing. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's the best manager for me. Like, in Scotland, you look at when he went down to England, I think his circumstances when he was at Bristol City that were difficult but still done really, really well. There's nothing I can say bad about Dale. I think he's absolutely outstanding. I think he was outstanding as a player as well.
How Rangers never took him as a manager.
We spoke about that as
They
well.
should have.
He's
They should have. That's
nailed on.
That was a nail. The closest thing that they could ever get to Walter Smith.
Aye.
So he was Derek McInnes.
Kyle says something was there about, like, though there was interest, but there was some stuff going on at the club he didn't agree with, and eventually it came out. All the stuff he was saying.
There's a background story to it. Again, a lot of fans that don't obviously know the full ins and outs, it'll just say, "Oh, we shouldn't go back for Derek McInnes," and that. But there is.
Aye.
I know there was a lot of ins and outs in it. Undoubtedly, they missed a trick. Obviously, Danny Rose came in and done well, but they missed a trick with Derek.
This episode is sponsored by Sustainable Packaging Scotland. This is a company that I've watched grow. You know, they are owned or co-owned by one of my best mates. But the thing with them is they're now the fastest growing packaging distribution company in Scotland. And you can tell why. They're so passionate about what they do. They want to reduce your costs. They want to make it green, obviously good for the environment. But they do it without compromising in quality as well. And that's why the guys are so popular now. So if you have any packaging needs at all, reach out to the guys. They're very active on social. I'll put all the links to their social and their website on this episode. Guys, thank you for your support, and we'll get back to the show. So, Hearts, mate, let's hear about that. What was your debut like there? Did you?
So I went from, I'm sure it was Dundee at home. So I went Dundee at home and then Celtic away. So I went from playing Brecon on the previous Saturday at Brecon to then rocking up at Celtic Park and just thinking,
Henrik Larsson and co.
What is this? Like, how has this happened? And obviously my first day at Hearts, walked into a change room with about 63 people.
Is it?
Wow.
Is that what it was?
It was something. Mate, we had a.
Is that the Romanoff era?
Romanoff, we had a first team pool, we had a reserve pool, and then we had a bomb squad. And the bomb squad basically just ran through the woods, up in the back of Rickerton.
Please tell me you were the other day that Romanoff came on with his basketball outfit on.
No, I was.
You not heard that story before?
Mate.
He went and he said he won a gold medal. He was a gold medal basketball Olympic champion.
He bought the team and then put
He bought
himself
the
on.
team, put him on sale in the last 5 minutes. He came in with a gold medal with a full gear.
He literally, any club I went to see if there was a chairman half involved at all, it was us Romanoff coming. It was always that patter.
He came in a couple of times when I was there. But again, I've went for air where it's like men's men, like boys, changing rooms like a bunch of brothers, you know, would get promoted. It was just an amazing, as I said, it was an amazing time, amazing changing room. And then I walk up into the Orium, which it is now, walk into this massive changing room, and there's just, I'm not joking when I say there's a mass of bodies everywhere.
That's incredible. 63 players.
They actually had to chuck one of the boys out the locker to
Get you
give
in?
me the locker. Wow. And I actually had to just stand there as the kit man walked in, and there was like the keypad with your initials, and you just flick the initials out and put my initials in, reset the thing.
Ruthless.
It's absolutely shite, but it's funny.
What passcode do you want, Steve-O? And the boy's just like standing, grabbing his boots and his wash bag and his towel.
Wow.
Wait, the bomb squad?
David, his name was.
Your trainers on?
German or Lithuanian boy.
Aye.
And was like, David, you just need to go from the corner and get changed. And I'm like,
That's
all
wild.
right, how you doing, mate? I'm Ryan. And I'm like, how bad's that?
Nah, it's terrible.
But it was chaos, mate. It was absolute chaos. Even when I signed my contract, it was chaos. So it was.
Some characters in that changing room must have been.
Mikey Stewart. Mikey Stewart. And to be fair to Mikey Stewart, I know Mikey, a lot of people are splitting
Was he
Mikey
a
Stewart.
owner back then as well?
He was, mate, but he was some player.
Professional.
Everybody says that.
Some player.
Aye.
And I argue with a lot of people who, because obviously he's doing his punditry stuff, Mikey doesn't care about anything. He's very assured in himself, which I love.
Just says what he wants.
And I love him as a pundit. But see, as a player, people go, he wasn't that good. And I'm like, you've no idea.
Started at Man U, didn't he?
Mate, I think the story's going was Alex Ferguson basically tried everything he could to try and help him, to get him into the team. But he's just got that side of him when he switches. He just turns into, he's just Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, I watched him, he chased one of the young boys, run about the indoor AstroTurf because he megged him. The young boys obviously megged him in a possession box.
He's supposed to.
Oh, mate, he just flipped, man. And he was trying to rip his bib off, get his bib off. It was like the Balotelli thing, couldn't get his bib off. And then he's like the Hulk, but he's still trying to chase.
Red Mist, he lost it.
Wee Gordon Smith, he's still trying to chase Gogsy, run about the. And I'm standing and Jim Jeffries is going,
You say to him?
that's my captain. And you're just like, so it's like all these things where you leave
I bet you
United.
Jim Jeffries loved that. But
Brilliant, mate. But you leave United, and then the following week, I'm playing at Celtic, away to Celtic, and then there's just not this commotion. Like, obviously, the game at Celtic Park, Nadie and Ian Black had a bit of a set to, and again, I was sitting next to Mikey Stewart, and I'm sure Nadie punched Blackie. And Mikey Stewart just turned around to me and went, "Welcome to Hearts." And again, I'm just sitting there like, what is
a lot of
happening
people
here?
would have wanted to punch Ian Black, to be fair.
Blackie's Blackie.
By the way, I played against him at two. When I went in the juniors to the East Leagues eventually, he was playing with like Trinent, and I thought, some player.
Blackie
Brilliant
was
in the ball,
a
and
great
that's what he
player.
was.
We played in the lower leagues with Stranraer against Rangers.
Yeah.
And he was the one, he would just be writing every. It doesn't matter if he was playing Stranraer or playing Celtic, he was always writing
Does not care, mate.
somebody's face.
And technically very good. But Blackie's the same. Blackie's another boy who I still keep in contact with, see him from time to time, who, if you spoke to him, would tell you he found it so difficult,
After
that
football.
transition. I don't know whether he's working in a refrigerating company or something.
He was working as it was on. It was in the paper one of the times, whatever it was, he'd moved to them, but you're right, it was like a trade or some sort.
So see, even that, like, I find that so degrading. Now, I've got a column, a Daily Record, and I love it. But I find it so hard to understand why
They would do that.
they would print something about somebody like that, when ultimately you know that guy is probably finding it hard just getting through life.
I don't care.
But there's this stigma in Scotland or in probably the UK in general. If you're a footballer, you're sort of
You should
untouchable.
never have to work
You're
again.
not a human being. You're a millionaire, and
And
that's
if you do have to work again, you're a loser.
it's fair game.
Yeah.
You've been there and done it, so we can say, or we can print.
And again, that's a big part of it is us as players when you're finishing. Again, it's probably an ego thing. Is us as players when you're finishing, you've got that worry of what's everybody going to think. You shouldn't really care, but you do. It's just human nature. And Blackie was the same. He's probably one of the boys who's probably found it really hard to transition from playing into work life. And I know what Blackie was like. I played with him for nearly 4 or 5 years. He loved training. He was a good, as I said, he was a really good player. You knew if you were in the trenches with him, he was going to be by your side. It then all stops. The only thing I can ever compare it to, which I've never done, is like, see people taking heroin and they're like addicted on it.
Aye.
It's the only way I can ever describe how football made me feel. Was the high of
Doesn't shock me.
scoring goals,
Aye.
winning games, you know, the euphoria after it. You get up every morning and it's like getting into train with your mates, you know, you're fit. The biggest thing is you're fit and healthy, and I probably took that for granted as well. That I could go and, if you told me to run from here to Ayrshire, no worries, I'll go and run. Everything was just amazing.
Of course.
And then you finish
And it's done.
and it's just,
See that, it probably is like an addiction, because I finished, and then first, it took me maybe about 6 months to come out of that sort of football bubble haze.
yeah.
And I had 3 kids, wife, and I mind turning around to my wife and going, I was running about helping her go to clubs and all that at the weekend, but you never really thought of that when you played football, because you were in a football world.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that was Lindsay's job to deal with that, and
Everything
I was there
revolves
to play
around
football.
football.
And then after 6 months, I'm like, how did you do that when I played football?
Yeah.
She's like, I just done it.
Yeah.
But you don't realise you do get caught up in that whole bubble, don't you?
I think you become selfish to an extent, because the world is football, and
Definitely
everything that
selfish.
matters is that Saturday you're playing in front of
Aye.
X amount of people.
20,000 people at Tynecastle. I can't turn up on Saturday and I've wasted my time during the week and then let myself down, and that 20,000 come and they see me and they say I'm no good. So during the week it's like, I mean, the same with me. I'd go home for training in the afternoon regardless of what was happening, who was in, what we had to do. I was sleeping in the afternoon.
Aye.
Like, that was not
Non-negotiable.
It was non-negotiable. That was it. I had my specific things that I would do on a Friday, regardless.
Aye.
No matter if it was like a birthday party, you know, whatever it was, that's fine. You go. I'm
doing
doing this. So yeah, it probably is selfish
Yeah, it
to an
is.
extent. And I don't think, again, whether you're at Stranraer and you're earning £100 a week, or you're at Real Madrid earning 200 grand a week, we still all live the same sort of life, if that makes sense. So the boys at Stranraer that'll be, I've got a game tomorrow, I need to go and sleep. And it
It's
just,
everything. You miss weddings and Saturdays and everything. No matter what level you play, you miss so much
the
for your
full thing just
sport.
dominates your life.
Aye.
That is, and I look back on it and it frustrates me, because you let it dominate your life, but at the same time, it is
Go
what
to
it is.
That's just what you done.
It's the
isn't it?
passion.
Aye.
It's the passion of and having the opportunity to be a footballer. You just this is what we need to do.